Hello! This is the One Episode Rule podcast about first impressions. I'm Magpie. Would the rest of you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Blackle, resident Canadian.
Hi, I'm Joey.
And I'm Emma. And Blackle, I believe you had something to discuss in the intro?
It has to do with the subtitle that I put on my name that no one else wanted to add to their own. Before we started this podcast, in the green room before we start recording,
Yes.
we talked about we were talking about like children's shows that we watched growing up, and I realized that as a Canadian, it's hard to interact with you Americans because I feel like I watch a lot of Canadian-only programming that no one else has seen. So I thought it'd be fun to just go through a couple of them that I'm curious if you guys had too.
All right.
And by saying them, I realize that maybe they sound a little bit funny if you haven't been exposed to them.
Strong.
Okay.
This is a podcast about first impressions and anime, but we're just gonna go for the first impressions here.
This is technically... this is close.
This is close.
Maybe.
If you're like really loose with your definition of anime, and you just define it as any animation.
Listen, at least Blackle's trying. Let's hear what you
Let's
hear
do
what
it.
you got.
Listen, I don't watch anime. I only watch Canadian children's programming.
That's so
Okay.
sinister. Go on.
Okay. Did you guys watch Yvonne of the Yukon growing
Nope.
up?
No, damn it. I will not be made a fool of on this podcast. You know that we have never heard of that.
It's about a French explorer who gets frozen in the Yukon and then is cryogenically unfrozen 300 years later.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Is that Phil of the Future, but Canadian?
What the fuck is Phil of the Future?
Oh my god. There are cultural divides that cannot be bridged.
Okay, moving on. Did y'all get Reboot down there?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
We
Yeah,
Oh,
we all-
thank God.
I
It
forget
is-
what studio makes it, but I know about like fucking... God, what are the villains' names and shit?
It was produced by Vancouver-based production company Mainframe Entertainment.
Didn't
Yes,
Mainframe make Beast
Mainframe.
Wars too?
Mainframe also
Right.
made Transformers Beast Wars, or Beasties for our international friends.
Oh my god.
Interesting. Did you guys get Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Hell yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
show is, I would describe that as a formative television program for yours truly.
I would
missed
call it
that
probably
one.
the most Canadian show.
I always watch the Goosebumps show instead.
Yes, I prefer.
That's because you're a
Goosebumps.
patriot.
I'm a real
Oh, yeah.
American.
I preferred Goosebumps, but when sometimes
When Pickens were
started-
slim.
when I started getting that itch, and I
Mhm.
couldn't find Slappy.
All right. Did y'all watch Babar growing up?
No,
Yes.
come on.
I have
What?
Yes.
I have not watched it, but I have heard of Babar.
Babar?
What
The
is Babar?
lovely elephant buckaroo with his
Mhm.
elephant family.
Mhm.
I guess Emma hasn't heard of it.
No, certainly not.
Did you all get Roly Poly Oly?
Yes.
Yes, I'm
I
actually
don't know
like
what that is.
troubled. I didn't realize that so many of these were Canadian.
Yeah, there's a huge like children's programming industry up here, like
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
In
well,
fact, I would hazard to say that's 80% of Canadian industry, and the other 20% is logging.
It's
I'm
just,
actually,
just logging and beef farming.
Mhm.
Get that
I would
bird beef.
actually Goosebumps. Some parts of Goosebumps were produced in Canada as well, which you can just always tell. You see an episode and just like occasionally a kid is like, "Come on, sis, we've got to get out of here."
Oh, is that
Yeah.
is that like the mutant francophone kids from Heavy Rain,
Yeah.
where they run up to you in Chicago and they're just like, "Daddy, take us on the swings, Daddy."
God,
Zaddy.
wow.
So I have two more.
Okay.
One is extremely formative for me, and I'm very curious if y'all got this in America. Mystery Hunters.
Mystery Hunters.
No.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
No, I don't
Wow.
think so.
Basically, it was like Unsolved Mystery, but for kids.
Oh wow.
And it was hosted by two I want to say like preteen or teen sort of kids, and they would go to like a Stonehenge and talk about the mysteries of Stonehenge or like the fucking Nazca lines and talk about that. It was really fun and cool.
That sounds good,
Wow.
actually.
Yeah.
Did
and
they ever
I think
take
the
like a
other
hard?
one-
Did they ever take like a hard turn and tell you like the real history of the Nazca lines?
No, they would not.
Okay. Just like there's probably severed heads buried under this.
Love to hear it. I am just gonna okay. I don't need to hear you guys. I don't need to. I'm just gonna say, let's do a rapid fire round to end this off.
Oh god.
And just say yes or no.
Okay.
Pippi Longstocking.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elliot Moose.
Don't know
No.
what that is.
Country Mouse and City Mouse.
Yes.
Yes.
Heard of it?
Pokeroo.
No.
No.
Popular Mechanics for Kids.
No. God.
No.
Zabooafoo.
Yes.
The Boomafoo.
Yes.
I even knew that was Canadian.
I'm done.
Wow.
Wow. That was really good. I've learned some things.
The two brothers and their cursed lemur. They're
Yes.
familiar.
I feel much more worldly now after that segment.
True.
Hi everybody,
It's
welcome
true.
to the One Episode Rule. It's our edutainment podcast where we teach you about programming from all around the Japan and also Canada, I guess.
Well,
You can make an argument
Y'all-
that Cyber 6 is an anime. Although was
Yeah.
that Canadian or was it Brazilian? I can't remember.
I have no earthly
don't
idea.
know. Never watched it, I don't think. Hey, the edutainment continues
God.
because
Oh god, I'm gonna be learned.
I'm so
Because-
scared.
No, Blackly, you're gonna love this. I went down some rabbit holes the other day, and I found an article called 30 Obscure Anime Adaptations of Western Literature.
Oh my god.
So I did read this article, hoping dearly that there was an anime adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird, and
Yeah,
there wasn't.
you were looking for Haim Saban's To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah.
Yes, specifically, there wasn't, but there were some very good ones on the list. We obviously have seen Little Women and Tom Sawyer, but I wanted to read some of these other animes that exist.
They're out there.
So obviously they also have a Huckleberry Finn anime,
Yeah,
which
naturally.
is
Of course.
to be expected, but other ones they have include Les Mis, Little House on the Prairie,
That's
The
not
Secret
surprising.
Garden, Zorro, Don Quixote, and then a couple that are very shocking, which is The Story of My Life, which is about Helen Keller, and the most shocking one on this list, The Diary of Anne Frank.
Oh no!
Oh no! Come on!
You can't.
And guess who did this movie?
Was it fucking Haim Saban again?
It's by Madhouse Animation.
Oh my god.
What?
Somehow.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
I can't deal with this knowledge. I feel like
I've
it
cursed you.
I feel like it's fundamentally changed me.
It's apparently a movie also, so it's not like a whole series, but still the fact that it was made is shocking.
Eyes on the inside now.
Wow. I don't think I'm being controversial by saying that that'd be a bummer of a series if it was a series.
Yeah.
You come in and review every episode. It's like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
God.
Blackle, I swear to God, if you try and make us watch any of these, I will come for your kneecaps.
I got plenty to go around.
No.
Ah.
Just rubbing your little hands together, I can just see it in my mind.
Ugh.
Anyhow, that's that.
No promises.
Wow.
Emma, do you have anything to tell us about?
I do. This is a shocking intro. I feel like this is our most education forward intro that we've ever done.
Truly.
We
And
gotta be
yes,
learned.
we're gonna get that K through 12 rating on iTunes.
Uh-oh.
No, we're not on
No.
iTunes. But if there's anyone out there who is smart enough to put an RSS feed together, get at us. So usually when we get together on this podcast every week, we talk about what went down while we were gone. Obviously we missed last week because there were
The
some
troubles.
there were some more important things that we needed to signal boost instead of kind of putting out our dumb anime comedy podcast that week.
Mm-hmm.
In the time that we've been gone, I received a present. And co-hosting the show with me today is a bootleg third-party transformer. Everybody say hello to Tailgate.
Hello,
I'm
Tailgate.
gonna rattle the box around.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
That's Tailgate.
Don't shake it, you're gonna kill him.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's hardy. I since we've done so much education, I'll try to keep this brief. But in case you guys weren't aware, which I'm sure you're not because you're not freaks like me, there is a booming, bustling, illegal third-party Transformers toy industry that exists.
Incredible.
Yeah, there are a lot of shows, like a lot of Japanese anime and some like manga and then also some Western comics of Transformers that are out there that haven't really gotten a whole lot of love from Hasbro, and that's mainly just because Hasbro is, you know, a toy company that is marketing to children, which is fair and also disappointing personally. So there are a lot of other sort of companies that have popped up sort of like all over Asia and all over the world that fill in the gaps and say, you know what, Tailgate, you deserve a toy. You deserve to exist in a physical plastic form. With
But
parts.
Emma,
Yes?
isn't that intellectual property infringement?
I'm so glad you asked, Blackle. Yes, super. It incredibly is.
Hell yeah.
However, Hasbro has not pushed any litigation, basically ever. Largely, there's been no litigation against third-party companies, mainly because Hasbro doesn't feel that they're challenged to their bottom line. Because Hasbro is mostly a children's toy company. And so if they're selling to, you know, 20-somethings who have an anime podcast and may or may not be wearing pants at the moment, who happen to be really enthusiastic about a little sad gay transformer in a comic book,
About good old Tailgate.
it's not really their problem.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm glad that you got your figure and you found a way to find it in the physical world. But I do have to say, this has kind of gone off on a weird tangent.
What do you
Yeah.
suggest we do, Mags?
I mean, we could always talk about anime.
We could always.
Why
talk
would we
about
do that?
anime on
Why
our
would we
anime
do that on our
podcast.
edutainment podcast?
I know.
Our edutainment our good edutainment podcast.
I know. I shouldn't
Hey.
have said anything.
Since if you don't have any news, Magpie, I could give us some our news segment for the week.
I have no news. I spent all week listening to 50 episodes of the Magnus Archive.
That's so
Fair.
valid.
Fair and valid.
Also, this week's news is going to be a special theme. That's right. It's the first Break Me Off a Piece news segment.
Oh my
Oh.
god! Holy
Oh.
shit, it's back, everybody.
From the crypt beneath the podcast office.
Don't call it a
Welcome back.
comeback. They've been here for years.
So, there's actually been a lot of things happening in relation to One Piece lately. So let's just...
Before you start, I saw a great article while I was looking for news that was an opinion piece that was basically summed up was just like, Luffy doesn't need character growth. It would ruin the show. And I was just like, I should
Yeah.
read that at some point.
That's out of the scope of this segment. Yes, let's bite into these. So, the first piece of news in relation to One Piece is that they have started dubbing it again, which is surprising because for like several years there was no new dubbing of the show. I kind of thought they weren't going to dub anymore. The last thing that they had dubbed before this was the Fishman Island arc, which is the very first arc after the time skip. So that's quite a ways back in relation to where the story is now.
Yeah.
So they are dubbing it again. I have said multiple times, like, I don't care much for the One Piece dub. And then as soon as they've released, I believe, 14 episodes at this point, dubbed. I did immediately watch all of them.
Damn.
So I have seen all of the new dub. Well, okay, that's a lie. I've seen about 10 episodes because 4 of the episodes were a filler arc, and I was like, not gonna watch that.
Just be like, this is One Piece. There's nearly 1,000 episodes. We do not have time for this shit.
Damn.
The filler arc is a setup for one of the movies that they released. So, like, it's understandable, but it wasn't my jam, so I skipped that. But I did watch.
I think that skipping filler episodes is an incredibly powerful tactic, Joey, and I respect it a lot. You could get through Inuyasha in about half an hour if you did that.
Yeah, just skipped all of the last episodes.
You can also watch it at 2 times speed.
No, I absolutely cannot. So yeah, it's the thriller. No, not thriller. Punk Hazard arc, which is a very law-centric arc, and so I was like, "Ooh, yes, this is one of my favorites."
As opposed to Chaos.
Yeah, no, Law the character. It's good stuff. So yes, again, like I said, I didn't enjoy the dub much before, but I kind of am into it now. I don't know what's happening to me.
All right.
You're going feral.
But do pick it up. You said you had multiple items.
Yes. So this is something that was announced actually back in January. I don't know that we've talked about it before. Is the live action adaptation of One Piece?
Oh God.
The what?
Have we discussed this before?
I feel like I would have remembered this.
I feel like at some point I was scanning for news and I saw something related to that. My eyes rolled up in the back of my head.
Eyes just glazed over like, this can't be. I don't have much to say about this other than I have no idea how this can possibly be a thing, but it's coming to Netflix.
That's got to be like the JoJo live action that I keep forgetting exists.
I maybe, I don't know. So yeah,
I'm gonna get some of y'all together and watch that shit, and then we're gonna talk about it in a future
That would be
episode.
fun. That would be good.
Good.
Okay, the last thing I have is that One Piece is coming to Netflix
Holy shit!
on June 12th, and it's going to be about the first 130 episodes, which is up through the Alabasta arc.
Jesus Christ, they can't do that shit. I was gonna start Dohodoro. I don't need the Netflix servers to fucking crash.
So yeah, go get on that piece. Break yourself off a piece.
Wow.
Break off
And
while the
that's-
breaking's good.
That's all I have for news. Sorry, I talked about the dub a lot, but I made it up.
This is,
All right. Emma, did you have something for us to watch?
yes. So, when I told Gil, two years running Boyfriend of the Year award winner, that we were doing our 50th episode, and that we were putting an indefinite pause on our other celebrations, he suggested that we should watch for our 50th episode a little show called Golden Kamuy.
I like how every
Oh.
single time, or most of the time, people bring up an anime on this podcast. It's just completely incomprehensible to me. Like, I've never heard this before in my life. And
I
it's
feel like I've
like
heard
other
it.
people like having a little glimmer of recognition, and I'm just like, never have I ever heard of this. These syllables.
I just looked it up and I recognized nothing. So I guess my initial impression of I've heard of that is fucking wrong.
This is one that I have been meaning to watch at some point, so I am excited.
All right.
Yes,
Well, let's get...
Gil has described it as an influential anime, and that there is apparently something that's going to happen that we're all going to recognize, which scares me.
Oh dear.
I'm so
boy.
terrified.
All right.
I'm
Well,
ready.
let's get into it. All right, we're back. I have some things to say about this show, but I should clarify that I think this show is great. Before I say the things I'm going to say.
Sure. Always good to qualify your compliments.
And the things I'm going to say are this. This show's 3D animations are some of the fucking funniest I've ever seen.
Yes.
Would you perhaps describe them as grisly?
Yeah.
That and the fire JPEG made me laugh every
Oh my
time it was
God,
on screen.
It was like 2 minutes in, and I finally noticed it. And I was like, what?
snatched directly off of somebody's GeoCities homepage.
Oh god. Fucking Team Fortress 2 had better fire dynamics than this show.
Oh, jeez.
It was very good. And the other thing I will say before we really get into this is that that guy's name is Sugimoto, right?
Yes, I believe.
Yeah. Sugimoto may be the craziest motherfucker to have ever been in an anime. And I appreciate that.
Yes.
I love this guy.
All right. Do we want to get a blurb or something?
I've got a blurb.
Okay. Shoot it to whoever you think can say it the best.
Okay.
Oh, I'll do it.
Blackle. Here's our blurb, Blackle.
Oh my god.
All right, here we go. In Hokkaido, the far northern lands of Japan, Sugimoto survived the Russo-Japanese War of the Meiji era. Nicknamed Sugimoto the Immortal during the war, he now seeks the riches promised by the gold rush in hopes of saving the widowed wife of his now deceased comrade from the war. During his hunt of gold, he finds hints of a hidden stash of gold by corrupt criminals. Partnering with an Anu girl that saves his life from the harsh climates of the north, they venture into a survival adventure to race against the criminals that seek the hidden stash. Who wrote this?
I'm going to qualify that with, that was not your fault.
Not your fault. No,
I do think it's
cool.
I do think it's Ainu, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. It is
Yeah.
Ainu. And I think that's it. I think you got everything else right.
Yeah. You
Yay.
I don't actually know how. Maybe it's like, is it Russo or Russo? How are you supposed to say that?
I think it should be Russo, but
Okay.
yeah, this show also does two things that I'm as a boring history buff, I'm really hyped up by, which is A, talk about the Russo-Japanese War,
Mhm.
and B, acknowledge the existence of the Ainu, because that is not something that the Japanese traditionally do.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I
If
want to
you're not-
talk about that actually.
If you're not
So-
familiar, viewers, the Ainu were the native people of Hokkaido. They were not ethnically Japanese.
I want to say that this show is astounding to I don't know. Like I have not seen so far any media in any Japanese media acknowledging the Ainu. I knew about them. I knew that they existed. And just the way that they presented it in the show, I was just like, "Oh my god. This is like Disney's Pocahontas."
Oh,
Like the same it slots in perfectly. Like the way that they treated the way that like this show treated the indigenous people of Hokkaido is very similar to the way that like a colonial era story would treat an indigenous character.
Yeah. I am not. I will be the first to say that I am not really educated enough on the history of the Ainu people to make any kind of political commentary. It did feel a little bit like the sort of magic Native American thing.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
That's
can see
exactly
that.
what I'm talking about.
It's
Yeah.
definitely that, but it's a hell of a jump from not acknowledging their existence to that.
That's
Yes, let's give them
yeah.
that.
That's true. This is probably the first anime that I've ever. I mean, not that I watch a lot of historical anime, but
This is the first Japanese media of any type I've seen acknowledge them.
yeah,
So
without like, I don't know, without trying to sort of like sugarcoat the history or do that cool thing that American media does, where it's like,
I was just
well,
like, and the natives suddenly disappeared.
the pilgrims ate Thanksgiving with the Indians, and then the
Right.
Indians said, "You can have this land," and they walked away.
And they left.
Yeah.
The end.
What? Guys, like this show did not say like the show didn't say that the Ainu are being oppressed, did they? I didn't get that vibe.
It did.
Well,
it did.
we've
It-
only
it-
seen the first episode, so
It
like
didn't really go
I
into
feel
it,
like
but
they could potentially get into it, but I don't. It's hard to say.
they may very well. But they didn't really get into it. But yes, they did mention that the native people were restricted from fishing and hunting.
Yes.
Wow, okay, I
by
missed that
Japanese
part.
law.
Yeah, they talk sort of briefly in this first episode about the Ainu people being sort of limited.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that part.
In the typical way of a larger government that would prefer that they would just die already.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
That's colonialism.
to talk about the story, this story hooked me from the beginning because it's like it's hard to explain. It sets its hook a lot better than a lot of other anime.
I would disagree vehemently.
Okay, you'd
I
be
thought
wrong,
that
but why?
I thought that it really like so rules of course are made to be broken, and the show don't tell a rule. It really broke that rule in a way that sort of illustrates why you shouldn't break that rule. Like I didn't want to hear like 20 minutes of exposition from a drunk character.
Well, that's
Well-
good. That's good because you only got like 3.
It was
I,
longer than 3 minutes.
I mean, I
It
thought
really
was-
dragged for me.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like that's a strange definition of exposition. I think that this was more of a like sort of setup for the mythology of the show that did not necessarily feel like an info dump and more like a just a narrated story, which I was totally fine with.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just Lovecraft does the same thing, although that's not the greatest comparison sometimes. But he did the same thing with Innsmouth, where most of that story is told by a crazy old man.
Okay.
Yes. Not to like. I kind of agree with Blackle here. It was kind of a little dragging on when he was talking, and like it was so much talking that I was having trouble taking notes because like I just couldn't look down away from the screen long enough because there was talking for every single, like, it just kept going. And that's not to say that I didn't like it, because I actually do. I very much enjoyed this. But like, yeah, it was kind of a lot of talking, in my opinion.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the One Episode Rule. I'm Emma. This is my only other co-host, Magpie. And
Joey
today
and
we're
I have
talking about-
advantaged to the shadow fucking realm.
Today we're talking about Golden Kamuy, a show that's good.
Show that's pretty good. It's maybe a little long, but it needs to be because it's literally the most important conceit of the show.
I agree.
Yeah,
All right.
no.
Well,
Like I said, I like this, but it was a lot of talking.
We'll move
Anyhow.
on from it. After, we've had our
Can I
fun at
say-
Michael Spence.
Can I say the very first note on my page?
Sure.
My first note was, is that fucking Jotaro?
It is Jotaro. That's just
he
him.
fucking looked like It says Jotaro.
He dresses like Jotaro.
my first note is, remember when the dude who made the Gatling gun was like, "This will end all war.
It'll be great.
It'll be
Yeah.
great."
It certainly won't be the cause of like war crime.
Yes.
Oh man! Actually, come to think of it, he looks like Jotaro because Jotaro's uniform is probably based on his uniform.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe.
Think
That
about
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah, because Jotaro's just basically wearing an actual, like, student uniform.
It's a little
Right.
punched up with some modifications, but yeah,
Yeah.
same idea. And that's probably based on a Japanese Imperial Army or Navy uniform.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I did like the character design. I liked his cool face scars. Very good.
Yeah, that's where you sort of start learning that your main character may be
Yes.
non-standard in demeanor.
Yes. And I love it.
Just be like, I will kill all of these motherfuckers. You cannot stop me. I will kill this
Mhm.
bear.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
Um,
skin this man with a cheap pocket knife.
so about that, I just got the vibe of like, nothing personnel, kid, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Kind of edgy.
Like- Yeah, kind of edgy, like, and then I skinned him.
I feel like he's just a sociopath. He's just be like, oh, I guess I need this guy's skin.
Yeah.
Kinda.
But he's also a fictional character that somebody wrote.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean,
But
I
he's-
guess.
He's skinning the guy for, like, nice reasons.
No, there's no
What?
nice reason to skin a man.
Well, no,
You want
I'm with Joey on this one.
He wanted to get the money to take care of his friend's wife.
He wants to help Umiko or whatever her name was not be blind, and he wants to give the money, almost all the money back to the Ainu people.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh my
We are
God.
talking about a man skinning a corpse.
He's dead. It's fine.
He tried to kill him. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you could just draw the tattoo.
Yeah,
Ah, man.
yeah.
Why didn't I think about that?
I mean,
Damn.
it's not like he's going anywhere.
Holy
That's
shit,
true.
yeah.
I mean,
God.
he didn't have any paper though, so
Didn't have any paper.
Gotta get out the old Higo no
he's-
Kami.
Yep.
I mean, folks, listen. He was already dead. The bear, he got eaten by a Wenkamui. So like,
Yep.
what's he doing with his skin? You know,
You
don't
don't
need
need it.
you don't
Try
need
it
it.
out.
Take it. Take him skin.
I would say that that's the role he's supposed to play in the show, but the little girl has to be equally crazy because she just hung around for it.
Yep.
That's
She's
true.
like,
She
yep.
just like she just sustained a conversation with him while he was fucking cutting all the skin off an old man.
While he was
God.
unzipping this motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
Degloving.
So, I don't know, to give an explanation of what we're talking about to the viewer. Basically, a really simple synopsis of this first episode, aside from the blurb, is just that Sugimoto is back from the war and he's panning for gold because he needs the money. And some drunk old man is out there with him, and he tells him the story of long story short, a guy killed a bunch of Ainu people and stole all their gold and hid it, and then he tattooed a code or a map to where it was on like 12 other prisoners, relying on the greed of the guards to take them out so that they could find the gold themselves, and the prisoners escaped. And the old man was actually one of the prisoners. The old man does try and kill him and then run off, and then he gets eaten by a bear, and the guy's just like, holy shit, this guy's got tattoos. Wait a minute, was that not bullshit?
Right.
That was a real story. There's gold somewhere, and I have to skin this man to get some of the gold. All right, let's do it.
I'll skin this man for a whiff of gold.
Yep.
For the
I'm
chance.
behind him.
I'll skin this man and the multiple other men I need to skin
There will
after
be-
this.
The 11 other men I will need
Yes.
to skin.
He's gonna have
Maybe
a lot
he-
of skin.
Maybe he doesn't skin them. Maybe he does. Maybe he goes with the paper for the rest of them.
Yeah, maybe he finds
Yeah.
paper. No, I
He's
think
like-
he's gonna skin them.
I-
You know,
No,
it's
I
fine.
disagree.
Can you imagine that conversation where he's just like, all right, I need you to hold still. Why should I hold still for you? And he just unfolds the other guy's skin, and he's just like, hold still so I can draw this, or I'll get it another way.
There,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
There are easier ways for this to go down. I
Uh-huh.
think I disagree with all of you, and I think that the rest of this show is going to be about Sugimoto going undercover as an art student, and sort of a
I have to-
promiscuous one.
I have to draw you.
I have to draw you. You are my muse. Get naked and stand. Can you with your arms up and then turn around? Okay.
Yeah, just-
Yep, I'm gonna
okay,
need
just
a
do-
couple angles here.
Just give me an A pose, please.
You're gonna need to bend over. There's part of the map on your gooch.
Oh my god.
That's just my little ladybugs. Oh, never mind. Fuck that. But
Oh.
anyway,
Oh.
We cannot possibly talk about that on the podcast.
we won't.
It's going past edutainment and more toward into like edu-terrorism.
So,
Jeez.
I don't have a lot left on my notes. What about that
So-
butt rock at the end during the credits?
oh, everybody loves a good butt rock.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Yes.
of them.
That's an original. Dante would love it.
I want to talk about the random dog that showed up.
Of course you do.
Thank God!
Hell yeah.
The fucking Deus Ex Machina!
Where did it come from?
It's
Why?
just- And then
Well-
the fucking wolf howling in front of Moon, fucking like Fantastic Mr. Fox, the wolf like holding up a fist ass scene. Oh my god.
Sorry, folks. Again, I don't think it was out of nowhere. I believe this was the perfect execution of the literary mechanic of Chekhov's gun. Because immediately after the prisoner story, Sugimoto says, "Yeah, okay, but you also tried to tell me that Ezo wolves are still around, and that's bullshit."
I missed that.
Me
So-
too. How am I
He
supposed to
did
know
say
what
it.
that is?
It's a wolf.
It's an extinct subspecies of gray wolf that once inhabited coastal Northeast Asia.
Yeah,
Its
it-
nearest
my
relatives
bad.
were the wolves of North America rather than Asia. It was exterminated in Hokkaido during the Meiji Restoration period.
did just miss that.
Yeah, I just have
so-
that all memorized, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I probably should have remembered that from Wolf Children.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's my fault. Mi culpa.
Aw.
Um,
I
Um,
liked the wolf, but
Isn't
I think
wolf-
that
wish,
I think this
wish-
is another one of those maybe this isn't for me type situations where it's just a bunch of like little references that like I don't get.
Well,
But there's not really any reference.
yeah, I didn't actually know what an Ezo wolf was until just now, but I did sort of gather from the context that it must have been some kind of cool, scary, legendary wolf.
yeah.
And maybe I was wrong, and maybe it was just referring to an extinct wolf, but
I don't know.
still.
I don't know.
Well,
I just took it to mean that there were wolves on the island that could come out and attack bears.
Yeah.
Well,
I
okay.
wish that the
I'm
wolf
glad
had
y'all.
not
I'm
been-
glad y'all paid more attention than I did.
You got to use your context clues.
No, I think I missed it because I was trying to take notes and they
Me
were
too.
talking too much.
Oh, I didn't even bother. So,
bad students of the craft.
Bad. Naughty.
I wish that the wolf had not been named Retar.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't say the name of the wolf. I
Rita?
don't.
In Japanese, his name is Retara, which is like better, but the way that they transliterated the name was not great.
Yeah.
I
not
That
good.
sounds like the name of a Bionicle that was immediately canceled.
Damn.
that's good.
It's okay, but if you guys hit up Make Toys website, you can pick up a third party
Rayatar.
Rayatar. Yeah.
You're scoring back all
But
those
it-
points you lost.
Thank
Black
you.
hole.
Oh, got it.
No.
Cool. No, that's fine. No, I didn't. That's that's what I thought you meant. It was black hole and not.
Would you all like to watch another episode at some point?
Under
love
no
to.
circumstances.
Okay.
I'm absolutely gonna watch all 100% of this show in like 2 days. I can guarantee you. I love this a lot.
That's fair. I believe there are only 24 episodes, and I think maybe
Yeah.
3 of an OVA.
Yes, seems about right. This is a very Joey Core show. I'll say that.
I agree.
It
I
was
know
the
there's-
wolf, wasn't it?
A little bit of that, a little bit of everything.
It's just because it's an alternate universe version of Silver Fang or Densetsu Weed or whatever. it
Yeah.
was, with the
Yeah.
dogs and the bears.
Uh-huh.
Is this like an Underfell version of another anime or some shit?
We watched
Yeah, I don't
it.
think you were here. I don't think Black Hole was here for
Black
that
Hole-
one.
Man, might not have been there for that episode. You're right.
Which episode?
It's the one. It was the one with the dog, with the bear hunting dog from like. The,
Oh yeah, I remember that
80s.
show. I was on that episode with Ryan.
Oh, okay. You were
I remember
there.
what you're talking about. I didn't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. Yes, this is an Underfell version of that, which is saying something because that show is fucked up.
I think the only other thing I noticed was some interesting costuming stuff because well, hell, there were only really like 4 characters of note, and 3 of them wore what I would call relatively normal costume. Because like Sugimoto's wearing like some half civilian stuff, and then some of his old gear that he presumably took home, and the old man's dressed like an old Japanese drunk man. Why is the Ainu girl dressed like a fantasy character from WoW?
Yeah, that was kind of.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That's
Mm,
I don't know. There's an outlying chance that the design may have been based on their traditional clothing. I don't think it was.
No, I also
Yeah,
don't think
no,
that it was.
don't
I
think so.
I think it's like a cool. No, sorry, I've just looked up Ainu clothing, and it kind of does look like that.
Oh really?
Wow.
It's just
Yeah,
that.
just a moment.
'Cause I got a lot of like Sylvana's Windrunner.
Those,
I mean, yeah, the pattern. Some of the patterns are similar, but without the the big fluffy furs and such,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely fair.
and the purple eyes. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like having a historical drama and one of the characters has purple eyes is peculiar. To say
that's a very anime thing to do.
I know it is. And from an outside perspective, it's just surreal.
I guess it just be that way sometimes.
That's just how it is.
Does anybody else have anything to say
I
about
don't
this
think
show?
so.
Let me see. I'm gonna check my notes really quickly.
Did we see the thing that we were supposed to recognize?
Yes, Gil immediately after I said I was done with the episode asked, "Was there a really bad CGI bear in it?" Which is apparently a just like famously unbearable
Bear.
CGI model.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You can only be thankful that it's just dark, so it's hard to see
Yeah.
the details.
Yep.
There was just no rescuing that bear. Yeah.
It had to die. It had to go to bear hell.
Yes. It had to be
Um,
repelled.
Yeah,
I love-
the only other thing that I wanted to say was Kamuy. This isn't really like learning Japanese because Kamuy isn't a Japanese word, but Kamuy refers to divine spirits in Ainu mythology. It's like sort of a little bit equivalent to the idea of kami in Japanese mythology, but it's like a lot more of a broader term. Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's just
Like
God.
Magpie said,
Yeah.
this show screams like this show screams like magical indigenous person trope.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's valid or not. Like that take on it.
Again, I don't really feel like any of us are educated enough to make a sort of hard line stance or anything, but
Probably not.
I believe that there was at the very least an Ainu language expert who weighed in during the development of this series. So I don't know.
Well, that's nice at least. What was I gonna say? I just love the idea that animals get their own individual hells.
I know. I can't wait to get the podcast hell.
You're already there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As if you aren't there already.